Hello, good day everyone. We were going to talk about the characteristic of optimal input for acquisition. This time we will going to know the characteristic that is needed to encourage acquisition at the fastest acquisition rate and the implication of these two important characteristics. First, we have the optimal input is comprehensible. This is the most important input characteristic. As you can notice, the word comprehensible, it simply means that it's easy to understand. So as a speaker, it is not necessary to use unfamiliar words because not everyone has the same level of competence when it comes to comprehension. Remember, when the acquirer does not understand the message, there will be no acquisition. Okay, we have two cases here. First, we have the monolingual English speaker, for example, hearing Polish language on radio. The speaker would acquire nothing because the input would be only noise. Why it become just a noise? Because the speaker knows only one language and he or she does not familiar with the Polish language. The Polish language is closely related to Slovak and Serbian language in Eastern Germany. On the other hand, watching educational television program to teach foreign language, there are predictions that television would be somewhat more successful than radio as language teacher, but television would be inadequate in the beginning stage. It shows that hearing itself is not good enough to learn foreign language or second language. Instead, hearing and watching can be a successful thing in acquiring new language or acquire language. Even though you are not familiar with the words, but still you can see some action at that you can comprehend what the speaker tried to deliver. So basically, defining characteristic of a good teacher is someone who can make input comprehensible to non-native speaker regardless of his or her level competence in the target language. Remember, we acquire if we understand. So observe not how it said, but what it said. Comprehensible input make people understand. How to aid comprehension? If we are correct in positing comprehensibility as a crucial requirement for optimal input for acquisition, the question of how to aid comprehension is a very central one of the second language pedagogy. So pedagogy is a method and practice of teaching. So Hatch 1979 has summarized the linguistic aspect of simplified input which appear to promote comprehension. So these are the characteristics. First, slower rate and clear articulation which helps acquirer to identify word boundaries more easily and allow more processing time. Technically, the duration of teaching is more slowly than standard. So it helps the less competent speaker to acquire and identify those words, and it allows them to process and comprehend what is being teach to them. Second, more use of high frequency vocabulary, less slang, fewer idioms. So it means that the teacher must use clear and simple vocabulary. Third is the syntactic simplification or shorter sentences. So it means that the teacher must focus on brief explanation to be understood. Thus, this means that teachers should be continuously try to simplify their speech when they talk to students. Should they think about slowing down, using common vocabulary, using shorter sentences, less complex syntax, with less embedding, and etc. Consciously referring to this rule might be helpful on occasion, but it appears to be the case that we make this adjustment automatically when we focus on trying to make ourselves understood. Okay, let's proceed to the second characteristic of optimal input for acquisition. The optimal input is interesting and or relevant. Optimal input focuses the acquirer on the message and not on form. The best input is so interesting and relevant that the acquirer may even forget that the message is encoded in a foreign language. Creating material and providing input that meet this characteristic may appear to be an easy and obvious task. In reality, this requirement is not easy to meet, nor has the profession considered it obvious. It is very difficult to understand and discuss topic to get the interest of the student. It claims that relevance and interest have not been widely perceived as requirements for input, since so many materials failed to meet this requirement. Somewhat less obvious is the failure of meaningful drill. To qualify as optimal input for acquisition, meaningful drill is distinguished from mechanical drill, in that form requires the real meaning be involved. According to Polston 1972, structure, however, is very difficult to also build in the exchange of truly relevant or interesting information. At best, such information only mild interest the member of the language class. Making the whole class more interesting and relevant is one of the challenging things that teacher must overcome. In this case, the teacher must think outside the box to boost or encourage the acquisition of the acquirer. And that would be all. Thank you.